Okay, this is the green fir tree with red berries project. And what you need for that is the 11 by 17 white paper. Okay, you need green, red, and brown tempera paint, and probably just one bottle if it's pretty full for is all you'll need for your whole class. Okay, then you'll need some pieces of mat scrap, and just call me when you need those, and I'll send somebody over with them. And you need one long piece per student, and probably two short pieces like this. And these you can just cut with the scissors. Okay, and you're using those instead of a brush. And then what do I do with it? There it is. You need one Q-tip per student, and then you need a plate per kid. Okay, so what they're going to start off with is brown. So I would recommend, I always walked around and if this has not been opened, you want to shake this. Okay, even if it has been opened, you might want to shake it, but just make sure the lid is on tight when you do that. This is tempera, it's water soluble, can clean up pretty easy. You still don't want to mess it if you can help with it. It's fairly cheap, so if they waste a little, it's not too bad, but you don't want to go out trying to waste it, use it up. They could share plates with a buddy at the table. That would be no problem. Okay, so you want to put about this much on there. Okay, and then I'm going to put this down so you can see. Okay, they're going to take the long one, and this is going to be the stick of their branch. Okay, and just kind of smear it out here like this with the board so it's filled there. Okay, and then they're going to want to stick that whole board, and if the whole thing doesn't go on it, that's okay. It'll be fine. But basically, they're making a line here, so they've got paint on this end. And then you want to make that stick go right to the edge of the paper. So they should not do this in the middle. They should do it on one side. It can be any side. It doesn't matter. Okay, and then they'll do that like this. Okay, and probably another time here like that. And about there. Okay, and it doesn't have to be perfect, but it should kind of look like a chicken foot. Okay, something like that. Doesn't have to be exactly like that, just that's the idea. And then that is all they need for the brown. Okay, now the trick is this will go a lot easier if this is dry. So sometimes I would just blow dry this. Sometimes I would just have them hold this and wave it around. It really doesn't take too terrible long to dry, but you don't want them to stick their hand in it. I would take this piece and throw it away right away because it's just easier just to pitch it and get it out of the way so it's not messy and it's scrap. So that's what it's for. Okay, and then once it gets at least decently dry, then you're going to do the green. Okay, and again, shake it up if it's a new one, which mine is. Okay, go around and put it on their plate. If you trust them to do it, they can do it, but it's just they usually tend to put way too much. So this is all they need to start. If they run out, they can have more. Okay, then they take, and you want to use the long end of this, not the short end, the longer end. Okay, and they always want to make sure they're always using the same end. And eventually I give them a couple of these because eventually, especially the way the kids do it, they press really hard, it gets soggy, it gets kind of gross. You don't want them to flip it over and use the other side because then they'll end up with green all over their hand. So when this gets nasty, they can just throw it away and use the other one. And what they're going to do is they're going to go like this. And usually you can make about 3 of them before you need to reload. Okay, hopefully you can see that. And they're just going to go, okay, and just go right over the other stick. And they want to try to keep this neat, so don't fill up that paint too much. They want to try to keep those, pretty close together, but there should be a little bit of white in between each one. But what they don't want to do is go at a different spot so it doesn't look like a line, okay? And then here at the top, they just kind of fan this around like this, okay? Hopefully you can see what I'm doing, okay? And then they come here, and mine's going to go off the table, and that is okay. It will wash, okay? But don't encourage them to do that, but if it happens, it's not the end of the world, okay? And then they just keep right on going. Okay, if there's touches to stick, that is okay, because after we do one layer of this, we're going to do that anyway, so it doesn't matter. But I just usually have them do their first layer like this so that brown dries a little more. Okay? And then you just go, they just keep going right here, right off the end. Okay, so I'm going to keep going and do that all the way around, and then we'll come back. Okay, so this is our first layer of green, and notice here I just let them cross because they cross each other to go around like we just did, so that is totally fine. So then I'll come in with my second layer, and I'll use the short end of the matte piece, and I'll go over just a little bit, and maybe just a little bit sharper, kind of like that. So kind of like this. I don't know if you can see that. Hopefully you can. Just going to make the branches look a little bit fuller. And these are just sharper in there, like that. And if your kid only gets one layer, one of the kids, and that's all they can get done because they're slower, it's fine. Okay? It's okay. This just makes it look like a little bit fuller of a fur. And I just go in like that. Okay, I'm going to keep doing that, but you can kind of tell already which one I did because it looks just more full. Okay, so this is the double layer after having the fir trees on there. And then the last step is to do some holly type berries on there. So you'll just use the red. And again, they can just throw away that piece of mat board and get rid of it so they have less mess. So not little red goes a long way. That's probably even too much. All right. And then they want to do berries kind of in little clusters. So like I choose a place where there isn't as much green, and you just put a couple berries on there. Okay. And too many berries, it starts looking crazy. It doesn't look like a fir tree anymore. So a few go a long ways. Is that Katie? Is it you? I expected a dog. Okay, and that's probably enough right there. Okay, and so that's their piece. And then I don't know if I've said this before, but usually they don't need to write their names on the front. They should write their names on the back, because unless they're going to sign it like a piece of artwork, which would be small down in the corner, not huge on there where it distracts from their piece. So get them in the habit of, if they're going to sign it, they sign it nice and small down in a corner, or they just write their name on the back. Because a lot of times third graders don't write small and they write huge right across the middle of the whole piece. So if they could put it on the back, that would be great. So this is a really simple project. It really turns out pretty cool. It's a nice one for the students to do. Okay,